Today's screencast is going to be showing you a well-done rhetorical analysis. Now, this student wrote their rhetorical analysis on a different article than you have to choose from. The article they wrote their rhetorical analysis on is Nicholas Carr's Is Google Making Us Stupid? And I want to just go over a couple of parts of the essay to give you an idea. And please make sure that you read this rhetorical analysis. It will really help you when you're getting started and trying to get your ideas together for your own paper. So first and foremost, we have a title. Okay, it's okay. It could be a little more creative. And we have an attention getter, which is our first sentence of our introduction. She writes, "Many people have read something and then moments later realize they have no idea what they just read about." This relates to the topic. Is it the best attention getter ever? No, but it suffices. It works. Please refrain from using rhetorical questions. There's much better ways to engage and entice your audience into reading your paper. In the next part of the introduction, the student introduces the author and the title of the article, where the paper was published and the year. And in this area, she does a good job of summarizing what the author is doing. Now in this area, this is where you can use your rhetorical précis format. You need to make sure you identify the author's argument, okay? The types of evidence that they use, the author's purpose, the audience, and the tone. Okay? She does this in a more loosely formatted way, but she still clearly states what the article is about, the author's purpose, and it is nicely written. And she goes through and mentions his argument, and she addresses the type of evidence he uses, anecdotes, and she talks about his hopes, which is the purpose of why he wrote his article. So, she did a nice job of introducing the article without opinion, just directly analyzing what the article was about. Okay, the next section is the author's, or the student's rather, thesis statement. And it reads, "Carr is able to inform and convince his readers by eliciting an emotional response when referencing a film and successfully develops his ethical appeal by demonstrating a vast knowledge on his subject while using credible sources. At the same time, his persuasion expands tremendously with his appeals to logic by providing scientific theories, facts, and historical reference with numerous anecdotes from other experts." Now, this is a very lengthy thesis, but there are some things that they did very well with this. First and foremost is they mentioned the 3 different appeals that need to be addressed within your essay. Okay? She stated emotional response, which is our pathos, ethical appeal, which is our ethos, and then down here, credible sources, and also appeals to logic, which is our logos. Now, you can mention the appeals the way that she does, or you can use the words ethos, logos, and pathos. That is completely up to you. But you need to reference those 3 rhetorical appeals in your rhetorical analysis thesis. And the other thing that she does great is she mentions what part of each of these appeals she's going to address in her paper, which makes her thesis strong. And she takes a stance. Okay, it's clear that she says that he is able to do these things, and then he does it in an effective manner. Okay, then we go to our body paragraphs. And you're going to notice that at each of the body paragraphs, I have lightly highlighted in purple the topic sentences. The topic sentences should be related to the rhetorical appeals. So here, her first paragraph, she states, "At the beginning and end of Nicholas Carr's article, he evokes an emotional response from the audience." It's clear that she's going to talk about pathos in this paragraph. In her second paragraph, she states, "Nicholas Carr shows credibility throughout his article. He informs the audience how the internet has affected him as a professional writer." Okay, credibility, it's clear she's going to discuss ethos. Down in our third paragraph, after Carr informs his audience on how the internet has affected him, he mentions other reliable opinions and discoveries from other experts. She's referring to evidence, which I know she's referring to logos or logic. Now, this writer did something a little bit different. Her third, fourth, and fifth body paragraphs are all analyzing logos. And you can see it here, she mentions logic, and also down here, she mentions logical appeal. Now, this was a different article than what you are analyzing, but you may find that you have more information for one or other of the appeal, and you might want to write an additional paragraph, and that's completely fine. You can also order your paragraphs however you would like. If you want to address logos first, then ethos, then pathos, that's completely up to you. Now, this author worked in the analysis of the overall structure of the article in all of her body paragraphs. For me, you have the option of doing that, but you also have the option of discussing the overall structure and moves that the author makes in one paragraph if you would like. That is up to you. You can make that decision. The important thing is that you include an analysis of the overall essay structure in your rhetorical analysis. Okay? The other things that this writer does a great job of is she introduces her quotes and she cites her quotes. Okay, you see the author's last name and the page number. There's no naked quotes or quotes standing alone in her paper. She weaves them in quite nicely. For example, he writes that media theorist Marshall McLuhan believes that when the net seems to be doing is chipping away the capacity from concentration and contemplation. Okay, then she addresses the quote that she put in her paper. So you want to make sure that you introduce your quotes and that you explain your quotes and connect them back up to what your topic is within the paragraph. Also, when you are analyzing logos, you want to be really specific about the type of evidence that the author uses. Okay, so let me go back up real quick. Reliable opinions and experts. So in this paragraph, she's using the experts that Carr uses in his article and explaining why Carr uses those experts to support his argument. Back up here with pathos, okay, another good thing that she does in here is she states the actual emotion that the audience would feel, that it would cause them to feel empathetic. And that's really important. So if it's fear, if it's humor, if it's empathy, you want to make sure that you state what the author intended the audience to feel. As down here she states empathetic and worried. Okay. Down at the bottom we have our last paragraph, which is the conclusion. You want to summarize your main points, and then this author does a nice job of stating some information about rhetoric and a rhetorical analysis. She states, demonstrating knowledge on a rhetorical analysis also teaches why certain strategies are being used and why. Developing this understanding can help people get their points across and easily persuade their audience. It is important to become an expert on Aristotelian appeals in order to receive desired response. Now, you don't have to include this in your paper. You could further express the importance of what the author is trying to do with their use of rhetorical appeals. But overall, this writer does a nice job of not only addressing the different appeals, but also giving examples and explaining those examples. And I hope that this example will guide you when you're creating your first rhetorical analysis.